Hello and welcome everyone, duckyobrien here, and today I'll be bringing you guys a preview of a game called Pattern. Pattern was developed by Galen, Drew, Michael Bell, and Badru. These are all three separate people that worked on the game. Galen did the art, design, and programming and sounds. Michael Bell did the music, and Badru did the programming. It was published by Icewater Games and was released on April 7th, 2020 onto Steam with the MSRP of $14.99. So why don't we get into it? This game is pretty hard to explain. It's kind of like a walking simulator. You don't really have that many controls. You got WASD to move, you got space to jump and float in the air, and you got sprint to run. And then you have the right click to bring up your camera and left click to take a picture. Now when you take a picture, it'll be saved in your Steam screenshots folder. You can delete it, you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah, there's really no fail state, there's really no enemies, there's no really like a goal or objective to work towards. You just simply explore. And to move on to the next world, next level, you simply find a fireplace. You can rest at it, and you'll wake up in another world. Each world is pretty unique. There's a handful of them. So you can see the smoke signal up in the sky indicating your waypoint for the next level. You can go towards it immediately. You can just take your time, take some photos. You can use your jump, your glide, your float, whatever it is to pretty much climb anything you want. Ooh. Just looked interesting to me, so I took a picture of it. This funny thing is, I used to do a lot of event photography in real life, and that doesn't take a lot of skill in terms of like composition and whatnot. Basically, you just need photos capturing the essence of the event, and it's a live event, so you can't really, you know, ask people to pose or anything. It's more like you're walking around and you're always at the ready. So I did this for a while, and then my buddies are like, alright, this looks like fun, I'll get into it as well. And then they all did it. They're all younger than me, and they are really gifted in terms of art. They have the eye for art, so to speak, and in a couple of months they already surpassed all of my skills. So that's how it goes, you know. It's okay though. I'm okay with being mediocre. It is what it is. But I'm going to rush through the levels just a little bit because I want to show you guys what happens. So this is a game about making games according to the developers, and you know, you're playing it, and I was thinking, I don't understand how, you know, or why, because I don't see the connection. But as I play the game, it dawned upon me, it was made clear to me as to why. It's kind of reminds me of No Man's Sky. Anyways, I had made a video, a preview video for this game before this one, and I played the game more, and then I realized that I'm missing a lot in terms of covering the essence of this game. So I made another one. But you can do pretty much anything. You can just walk around, explore, take photos. It's not gonna be for everyone. Alright, this game isn't gonna be for everyone. I already know, but I'm trying to show off the game and trying to find that target audience that would like it. The group of people who would want a game like this. It's very calming, it's very relaxing, and I think the music is well done in that, you know, as I'm playing this game, the music always gives me chills. A little like I don't know how to describe it. A little lonely, a little sense of foreboding, maybe a little bit. For me, at least. Like there's a pirate ship. Ahoy. Kind of reminds me of the sea shanties in Assassin's Creed. All away, Joe. All away, Joe. Let's keep going. Kinda don't want to spoil it, but if I don't show it, then people will think that, you know, this is pretty much it, which is not a bad thing. But when I reached that point, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not gonna show everything off, I just want to show a little bit. I also took a lot of pictures already, which is why I'm not doing it right now, if people are wondering. Alright, and looks like we're back. Pattern to the starting room, or so it seems. We shall begin the journey again. What is that? Black particles are rising in the near distance. What is this blue orb? Making games about my life is tough. It always feels like I need something to say. So here, once we started to play the game again, we see the developer's stats. So you can go. You can see the black particles arising in the far distance. You can head towards it if you want. Same as the smoke. Because making a game takes so long, I find that by the time I'm ready to show it to the people, I've already lost the train of thought that I started with. There's more over there. In design school, I had a professor who said never fall in love with your first idea. You need to explore. But I have found that there is something magic about the first idea. Indeed, there is. I forgot what the director's name was. Was it Luc Besson? The person who directed The Fifth Element, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Fifth Element was like a movie he's been working on for his entire life. His first idea, first love, and I'm glad it was made. The first idea represents your natural instinct. There's a massive chasm that splits the first thought from the curated idea, and I find it's often a value judgment whether it's worth traversing that chasm. Did I say chasm? I don't really care. If you guys want to know, I make videos non-stop, so usually I sleep very little. It seems to affect my memory, especially how to pronounce things. I have a bad habit of taking first ideas and polishing them without evaluating if they're worth taking that far. Indeed, that is a bad habit indeed, because time is all you have, so you have to evaluate whether that idea is worth it. I wouldn't say according to other people, but to yourself. So like, is this something that I want to do? Is this something I really want to do? Or am I just doing it for the sake of doing it? So let's go to the smoke. So the game changes now. After you went through that first loop, that first bit, you start to see these little orbs here representing the thoughts of the developer. And it's kind of like this game is their thought process or the experiences in making games. And I found it rather, I don't know, it's kind of moving. There's another one over here. I don't think taking more time with things inherently makes them better, but for me the practice of making art is the practice of getting better at curating my good first ideas. I agree wholeheartedly with the fact that spending more time doesn't make things necessarily better, but there's value in that. You get practice, you get training, you get that muscle memory of whatever it is that you want to do, especially in terms of creativity, the creative efforts of whatever it is you're doing. Everything takes practice. I lost track of the smoke and the rain. It's over there. But yeah, once I played through the game and then I saw those blue orbs and I saw what the game was trying to do, I'm like, I need to make the video about this. This gives a better representation. But I didn't even see where the smoke was. It's like each world is like a game idea, like a separate thing. I was often told by my art teachers to sketch more because I always just started and found that idea in the process. I make games the same way. I'm not sure if it's worked out for me. Part of the joy of making art on canvas or paper is that the medium pushes back and does unexpected stuff that can lead you down a path. It's used to playing like Rust or Apex or PUBG where you don't want to run in a straight line, so you serpentine, you know, so you can get headshot as easily. Always that habit of which way am I gonna go? Please don't shoot me in the head. When making a game, the work is so much more like stretching the canvas and building the frame than actually painting. I get what you mean, friend. I get it. spend so much time building the tools and the systems to even get to a place where you can make anything happen. Indeed. Indeed. It's oftentimes the reality with games development. Sometimes you mix paints, stretch a canvas, trim a brush, start to paint only to stand back and realize what you wanted to make was a sculpture. This all sounds very negative, but I would say the beauty of making games is that you can build something that can generate infinite art with very little effort. Brings up the old controversial argument, are video games art? I would definitely say yes. The smoke over there. So as you play, the more orbs you find, the more thoughts that you get to see. You can definitely miss a lot. I believe that's where it came from, so I will ignore those. That reminds me of a game that I played that I thought came very close to an example of games as art. It was Superliminal, and that game I felt like did a great job of showing the potential of like marrying gameplay elements that tie to thematic elements. The whole game is about, it's very short, it's 3 hours. I recommend playing through in one sitting. It's kind of like Portal 2. It's a puzzle game with a unique element where the perspective of the objects changes their size, and that is tied to the narrative and the thematic elements of that game, which was that, you know, perspective is reality. Now, I'm not gonna spoil it, but man, I was just sitting there after I beat it. It got to me, and you know, I almost shed a tear. But this game gives out similar vibes in that I can relate to what this developer is trying to do with the game. Composing music is about building schemes and layers of cyclical ideas that can get layered and bumped into each other in ways that create surprising results. Now, I am rushing through this a little bit. When you're playing, you should definitely take the time to explore the side areas and look for more of these thought bubbles. And just for the sake of this video, I am just streamlining the playthrough just a, I just say quite a bit. I was gonna say a little bit, but I've always wanted to make a game myself, but I have tried multiple times to make a mobile game because it's a lot easier, and it's very difficult. So I have a lot of respect for people who've actually published a game, developed and got it out. Here we are. Looks like things have changed, or have they? The mindset shift for me There is that I am not the artist crafting a perfect final painting, but I am the engineer building a kinetic sculpture that reacts to its surroundings. Alright, I want to see if I can get to one final piece. I'm debating whether or not to spoil it or not. We'll see. I want people to experience this for themselves. Process is creating concepts that make art rather than making the art itself. There it is. There it is. Let's go take a look at these first. Pattern is an example of taking a messy first idea and letting the painting form up as the painting hits the canvas. It's not the game I set out to make, but it's a game that has enabled me to do a lot and collaborate with amazing people, which for me is the biggest victory. Oh, I feel the same about streaming. Core premise became I don't feel the way I did when I started. It is a door. And we awake back into the main room, but it is different. It's in disarray. And that ends the gameplay loop. Ah. Get chills. And then you can go off again. And that's the game. And I don't know, words can't really express how I felt when I went through this. It was a pleasant surprise because when I was first playing it, I just thought it was a walking simulator where you could take pictures, but once I started to play again and I encountered the snap bubbles, and it was like the gameplay itself kind of tied into what the developer wanted to say, because you know, starting out you're playing a game and then as you go through it over and over again it starts to change, and you know, it kind of reflects that, like different worlds, different ideas, different game ideas could have been. Anyways, thank you so much for dropping by and watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, things you would like for me to cover, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Once again, this was Pattern. It's developed by Galen, Drew, Michael Bell, and Badru. Maybe it's Badru, like Bad Russian. I don't know. Anyways, that's gonna be it. I hope you guys are staying safe. Thank you once again for dropping by. And as always, catch you guys next time.